Hello, welcome to In the War Room. This is my studio. I am calling it the War Room, and we are currently in it. We are going to start today's episode again with a mental health check-in. How's everyone doing? Y'all doing okay out there? Yeah, I took a little bit of a break for like all of March. The day of filming this is April 1st, so no jokes. I needed a little bit of a break. I'll get into it a little bit later, but I took a little bit of a break to start writing and recording my short EP that I'm writing. So 5, 6 different songs I've got lyrics for. So I'm in the middle of putting all of that together. It's been really fun. On to mental health. My mental health, I've been writing, so of course I should be in a good place, and I am in a good place for the most part. I'm still doing the meditation. It's still working wonders for me. I haven't really had any huge episodes of feeling down, like a downswing. Like, I haven't felt like, oh, I'm just in a funk. But it's pretty much a daily occurrence. And if you're neurodivergent, ADHD, you're in that realm, you already know what I'm talking about with it being a daily occurrence with, I know I should be doing this one thing, but it's overwhelming, so I'm going to just continue to be a couch potato. Yeah. I struggle with that sometimes, but that's pretty much the only thing. It's not, I know it's a thing, and I know sometimes I can't help it. And I know that, 90% of the time I am working to not be that way. And I have worked on improvement. And, what is it they say? It's progress over perfection. That is a wonderful term to talk about, especially with dealing with mental health. Progress over perfection. I am not only high anxiety, high stress, neurodivergent, ADHD. I am a little OCD and a little bipolar, and it's all connected to my anxiety. I have anxiety over getting this just right and being a perfectionist. And so, yeah, wonderful phrase. Progress over perfection. Take it, use it. I do. It helps. Moving right along, we move on to the studio updates and what is currently going on, what I have currently going on. I already touched on this. I am currently in the middle of writing and recording, tracking songs for my EP that I want to release. And that's going pretty well. I am about 3 tracks in, doing pretty good. I have acquired a few things. Again, if I can point this thing right here, I mentioned last time, it's the FMR Audio RNLA, really nice leveling amplifier. And boy, let me tell you, I got this thing wired in, and I ran some tracks to it. I ran some acoustic guitar, I ran some vocals, I ran some drums, and I don't know how they're doing this thing. It was about $120, but this thing sounds like 500 or better. And it's a really weird animal because they call it like a leveling amplifier, and so you would think that puts you in the realm of like opto compression, like an optocell compression, like an LA2A. And the thing is it's a VCA circuit. It's VCA compression, but it's got some kind of saturation that's happening in there that just sounds good, and it sounds thick and gooey, and it does the thing like an LA, like an opto compressor does. So it's in that ballpark, but not really being an opto cell compressor. It's a VCA compressor. I mentioned last time about the reamp channel that I was building, and I've gotten a couple of pedals for those, or for that thing. And speaking of the LA2A, one of the pedals that I wanted to experiment with, because I was curious as to how close to an LA2A it would get, is the Teletronics LA2A pedal. This thing was on sale, and I decided to go ahead and snag it up. But I haven't tried this one out yet. I'm curious as to how this will work. It's got compressor and limit, just like the LA2A has. It's got peak and gain, just like an LA2A has. But here's an added feature that an LA2A does not have. It has a mix blend knob. So you can set this up on a single track and give it some parallel compression. So you can just smack the crap out of it, like limit, or you can like really, really, really just squash it and blend in to taste like parallel compression, like on drums, like on a snare drum or like a kick, or maybe a mono overhead. This has potential. And another pedal that I got that I was super excited about, because I like tape echo, was the Orion delay pedal. Now, this thing also has a mix blend knob. So those are great features, because sometimes you don't want 100% wet signal. Sometimes you want just to blend in just a little bit. And I've got my studio wired up, and it's set up to where I return the effects back to my console on a separate channel. That way the mix blend is built into the channel. Now, and I can blend it via the fader. Now, this mix blend knob will allow me to keep the faders where I need them with good volume, and do the blend on the unit. That's really cool. This, I am absolutely excited to run on vocals. You use that reamp channel, run a vocal through this. I could hit this. I could hit the LA pedal and back in and call it a day. Or I can hit one of these 76s, hit the LA, and then put this on the back end and come back into the DAW. The possibilities, like this is going to be cool. It's just going to be cool. And last but not least, I finally gotten the Arc Studio. There's the box. Here's what it looks like. It's got the inputs, outputs in the back. And this is the room correction. And here's the measurement mic. This included mic. I haven't wired this in yet because I have just been in the throes of writing in the studio. And in order to do that, I have to break some things apart and have to get behind things. I just haven't felt like doing that. But when I get around to mixing my material, I'm going to need to wire this up. I want to mix with the room correction. So when I sit down to mix, it's definitely going to have been wired up. Plus, I'm wanting material for my daily tech. Speaking of which, is still on the way. I have, again, like I said, I took a little bit of a break to just go off on a tangent and start writing and recording. I've got last few things to button up with that. I've got to sit down and actually do all of the commentary for it. But once I get that done, be on the lookout. Daily Tech is going to hit, and I've also got a travel vlog that's going to hit. And probably the first thing you're going to see is a Nerding Out, where I am talking about my Gain Drain deck. And here I go with ADHD. The ooh shiny. Speaking of nerding out, I am currently sort of nerding out with Planet Coaster. I haven't really delved into Magic the Gathering recently. I got that deck where it needed to be, and I sort of just kind of put my decks aside. I had some other things that were happening. Like I said, some life stuff was happening, and family stuff, and I've had stuff with friends happening that I've had to do some travel. But all of that's water under the bridge. Things are coming together. I have been needing to just kind of veg out in front of a game, and so I've started putting together, like, I had this awesome idea to put together this alternate reality Disney World Magic Kingdom park. So I'm working on, let's see, I got a castle. I've got like a Main Street area. I've got the train station at the front. I'm going to do the tunnels on either side into the Main Street hub area. Like I said, I got a castle. I've got a Space Mountain type ride. It's an indoor coaster through space. I've got like a Pirates type ride. I've blended the Jungle Cruise and the Pirates together into one little kiddie coaster. I've got that little area off to the side. I got a Haunted Mansion. I worked like a week on putting together this like really stupidly immersive Haunted Mansion dark ride. I'm going to do like a river thing with the river boat, and there's going to be like I've got a Thunder Mountain Railroad type runaway mine train ride. I've got the like a carousel that's going to be right behind the castle, like it is in Magic Kingdom. It's literally going to be the Planet Coaster version, like the Planet Coaster universe, the alternate universe Magic Kingdom. And I think that's pretty cool. Stay tuned for that, because I'm definitely going to be filming some content around that for my Nerding Out videos. Going back to studio stuff, yeah, tangent, right? I completely forgot that I have updated and moved off of the Studio Foam, the RLX foam mopads that have been under my monitors. And this is a monitoring upgrade. I moved over to the IsoPucks, and I'm not looking back. This is one of the best decisions that I have ever made. One of the best purchases, one of the best decisions. These things are solid, and they keep the speaker solid, and it tightens up your low end like nobody's business. I am hearing things, and things are coming into focus like I've never heard before. IsoPucks. Best $100 I've ever spent for the minis. They're about $100, depending on where you find them. Okay, I know I have sort of kind of been all over the place, jumped around today, but we are going to go back to the EP that I am writing and recording. I'm calling the project Of the Day, and it is going to be a self-titled EP. Right now, I'm thinking a digital release, and I may do physical copies on vinyl. That's just right now. I don't know. I'm undecided. I do know that I am going to master and release them myself and distribute them. I don't know which service I'm going to go with yet. That is yet to be determined. I can't make all the decisions all at once. I guess those decisions will come with time. I am currently, I guess you would say, quote unquote, shopping around. Bandcamp is a good contender. DistroKid is also a good contender. I found a couple of other, new startups online. I can't remember the one name. It was like Share Space or something, or Shareable or something like that. And then there was another one. The names are escaping me right now, but a couple of new startups that looked promising. I am not doing music to make money. This is an endeavor. It is a passion of mine. I have built the studio for me to record and release my own music. And I have yet to release the first thing that is truly, completely, solely mine. I've been on other people's stuff. I have worked on other people's stuff. I have brought other people's tracks here and mixed them here and been on them and added my drums to them here. I've done all of that. But I have yet to, over the years, through how just crazy life has gotten and just how I can't explain it. Just how life has just unfolded and happened. I haven't been able to sit down and write my own material. And I'm finally just in a place. I pushed everything like, nope, no more. I'm the priority right now. I've been through some life stuff. I want to write music about it, because it's an escape. It's therapy for me. And it's very therapeutic to write about things. And so the EP is basically about the past 5 years of my life. Now there's a stray idea here and there, like an occurrence that happened years prior to the past 5 years, but it's sort of in the same vein because I didn't learn the first time and it reappeared in my life. And so it's fitting that I'm pulling lyrics from when I wrote that and that happening in that time in my life. I'm really writing about that, but it also applies to the event that occurred in my life recently over the past 5 years as well. So they kind of fall into the same category. And so I'm using one to kind of transmit the other, and I'm just talking about them in the same vein because it's like, yeah, I didn't learn my lesson and it happened again. And so I had to, it's good to revisit those things and bring that up. Anyway, let me get some water here. Yes, it's about that time for us to relay a little bit of a story. I don't have much offhand that I'm thinking about. I didn't sit down and think about a huge story, big involved story that I can impart. But I do have a story about one of the first times I went into the studio to record tracks on the drums. It was a group that I was currently playing around making with, and they had secured some studio time to record in some of the original tracks. And we had about 11 tracks on it was a full length. And so they were going to record them there and send them up to a studio in Athens to be mixed and mastered and officially released. And this is totally a story for another day, but I learned some lessons through this whole experience. Anyway, back to the story. It was like a Saturday. I showed up. It was like 11 a.m. Loaded in drums, got them all set up, got all the levels. Rest of the band, shows up. It's the studio that's in this guy's basement, and it's like I'm sitting there going, yeah, this is where I'm headed. I want to do this. It's a lot of the reason why I have a studio in my basement is because of these early experiences that I had. It's like, this is the cool part of music. The music industry is the recordings. Like, I want to do that. I want to be the one making the decisions, which mics to use, how to EQ the stuff, how to mix it together, what to, like, I wanted to be that person. Uh, and I was like a sponge. I was soaking up all the information. I asked all the questions, and that recording engineer just that day, you know, just put up with it. He's a really great guy. I ended up learning a lot from him, and over the course of my music history in Macon, in my music career in Macon, I ended up working with him multiple times, and I really did end up being a good contact for him to have, because he's called me back for new, a few different projects over the years. But anyway, the story goes that I just went in because we had played the music, those originals that we wrote, all the ones that I was playing on. There was like maybe two that I wasn't playing on. All of them that I was playing on, we played when we played out. And I loved them. They were kind of upbeat and did really, really well. And they were crowd pleasers. And I had some emotional connection to, and I just knew them forwards and backwards. And let me tell you, 11 tracks in, or I should say 9. I did 9 tracks in the span of a day. Like, we weren't there more than 4 or 5 hours, but I knocked those all out in like not 4. I knocked them out in like 2 or 3 takes each time and just got them. I remember the engineer, coming up to me afterwards, he's like, "Dude, you're a machine. What's your number?" It's like, you are solid. You keep up the good work. Everything sounded great. So, yeah, there's that story. And same studio, different group or different person hired me to come record drums. And then this is months later, maybe a couple of years later. But same studio, same engineer. And he's actually the one that suggested me. And I come in, and they're working on a single, and they have a good amount of time blocked out, but it's full production. They have bass guitar, guitars, like he's playing guitars, he's doing vocals, and I'm doing drums. We have and a keyboard. But the thing is, a keyboard player failed to show up, flaked out. And this guy's paying for the studio time. And I'm sitting there going, I can't with this. I can't with this. Like, there's nothing that bothers me more than when someone's flaky. They said they were going to do something, especially around music and being creative. First of all, if you're a creative, and now I know you've got life stuff happening, and stuff happens, but no call, no show. There's no freaking excuse for that BS. Like, come on. Have some balls and step up to the plate and make a phone call and say, "Hey, something's come up. I can't make it today." Like, it's the communication. Like, it would have been okay. Like, the dude could have said, like, with communication, we could have come back a different day. We could have found another day, come back to get him in and record. But instead, we're sitting around waiting and sitting around waiting and sitting around waiting. No call, no show. We finally was like, I guess he's not showing up, right? So it's like, I asked the dude, I said, "Well, what do you need to happen, on the keyboards?" I know a little bit. I learned with my degree. And so, he was like, "Oh, I just need you to fill in the chords." And I said, "Oh, well, what's the progression?" Now, mind you, this is after a few takes on my kit. Like, I've loaded in, already tracked all the drum tracks for it. We got those nailed down solid. And I'm just still lingering after getting stuff solidified. And I'm noticing that the keyboard player didn't show up, and I'm just kind of hanging out. Just I'm hanging out in the studio. It's where I want to be. So I'm just there in that environment, and the opportunity arose. So I'm sitting there going, well, what's the chord progression? And it was fairly simple. I can't remember the progression off the top of my head, but I knew how to do it. And all they wanted was an organ sound. So I sat there with the engineer on a little MIDI keyboard, the VST in the software, and I just chorded it out. Sat there and I did what they needed to do. And now it may not have been the Nord keyboard that would have been on the track, but it was all supplemental. It was an organ sound, and it sounded good. And that's me. I did the drums, and I did the keys on that track. And the dude was paying for studio time. Like, seriously, I take issue with that. Don't do that to somebody. If you are a musician, you are a studio musician. First and foremost, if you are a studio musician, you already know this. Be there early and know your stuff. Be prepared and knock it out with as little takes as humanly possible. You've got to be on it. The studio don't fool around, especially when it's someone else's money. You don't have 18 hours to spend on a little piddly part. If that's what you're like, a part of a whole. It's like your tracks are your tracks. Knock them out. Like, know your stuff. Come in, knock them out, collect your paycheck, go home. That's the name of the game. Ain't no one got time for foolishness. Like, I'm just not going to show up because reason XYZ, whatever. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened after the fact. I just know that it was on me that day. Look, you're going to get your keyboard tracks one way or the other. That way you've got your song and you can continue work on it, Well, that about does it for this one. Again, it's another one under our belts. Pay attention, stay tuned. I've got stuff coming. They're going to eventually get here. I'm going to eventually get them done. I'm working on them. Just stay patient. I'm working through it, getting it done. Got a Nerding Out, got a travel vlog, and got the daily tech coming. So stay tuned for those. Also, I am continuing work on the EP, releasing some of my own music. It feels great. But other than that, this about does it. We are wrapped up for this one. I hope everyone is doing well. And yeah, no jokes. I am still doing Ecstatic, even though stuff seems a little scattered. But anyway, I will catch y'all on the flip side.